those two expelled members from the Tennessee legislature being invited to the White House, President Joe Biden extending that invitation. Good morning, Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop on 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk. You can always chime in live and local at 217-629-7970. That's how you can join us and have your voice heard. You can also email bishoponair@gmail.com or follow me on Twitter, message me that way, watch the live stream on Facebook, WMAY News, or on YouTube, Bishop on Air. And you can comment that way, but the best way to get a hold of us live and local is by calling in at 217-629-7970. So you've got the Biden administration inviting Justin Jones and Justin Pearson, the two Tennessee legislators that were expelled for essentially disrupting the proceedings at the Tennessee legislature. And you've got a third individual who was not expelled. Apparently, it's because she did not use a bullhorn as the other two legislators did, and her expulsion fell short by just one vote. But that didn't keep the various activists to say that the only reason they expelled the two was because they're black, and they didn't expel the third because she's white. So you've got race being injected into this. And I even saw reports over the weekend that they had people bust in from out of state to protest. So you saw that large number of primarily younger people outside of the state legislature in Tennessee during this time, and even inside the Tennessee legislature that may have been bust in from out of state. So you see that practice deployed quite a bit as well in a lot of different types of protests and actions where people get bussed in. It happens on both sides of the political spectrum. But other stories here, you've got the Tennessee counties. They're looking to send those expelled lawmakers back to the Tennessee State House. County officials in Tennessee say that they want to send those lawmakers back. That's set for a meeting today where they're formally going to announce the vacancy and discuss the procedures of filling those open seats left vacant by the two legislators that were let go. So that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out here in the near future. But you have Governor J.B. Pritzker asked about this on Friday, and he shared his thoughts about the expulsion of these lawmakers and how he supports these lawmakers down in Tennessee. So interesting that the governor of Illinois being asked about this. A lot of people see these types of questions being posed to gauge Pritzker's response on national stories where he could possibly line himself up for some kind of higher-ranking office nationally. So here's the governor reacting to a question about the Tennessee issue.
There is a threat to democracy that is occurring all across this nation, and especially in states that are controlled by Republican governors and Republican majority and supermajority legislators. And it is that they do not believe fundamentally that when someone disagrees with them, they still have a right to have a vote on that or have a voice on that, and that it's okay with them to just expel someone from the job that they just got elected to when they disagree with them. That is something that you see in the right-wing talking points of Republicans across this nation. We saw a bit of that kind of dismissal by the right-wing candidates that ran for school board and library board, and some that have run for statewide office in the state of Illinois. So I want you to know that many of us, and especially me, I stand with those two legislators who were expelled, with the legislator who remained, and her comments about why she was able to succeed in remaining. This is a problem across the nation, but Tennessee demonstrated that there is still a tinge of racism that exists in the state of Tennessee, and it was demonstrated there.
So Governor J.B. Pritzker saying that there's a tinge of racism that remains in Tennessee. I don't know how Tennesseans feel about an Illinois governor coming in and injecting that further into the debate there. But he talked about how, hey, these guys just had difference of opinion. That's not the case. They took bullhorns out on the floor of the legislature and egged on further disruption from members in the gallery who were, part of their party, but also from people who were watching the proceedings. They proceeded to disrupt the official proceedings of the Tennessee legislature. And this was all around the issue of gun control and the issue of even some things dealing with, gender, reassignment surgeries and different types of things along those lines. But when it comes to the disruption that took place, there was a significant disruption that took place. You had state police in Tennessee that had to manhandle a lot of people to get them out from disrupting official proceedings. So interesting to see the governor inject himself into that after being asked, but also thinking back to, he says, it's wild to throw people out of a legislature for having a disagreement, he says. Well, the House did that back in 2021 with State Representative Darren Bailey, if you remember, here in Illinois. He refused to wear a mask. He got kicked out of the legislature for one day. He didn't get expelled, but he got kicked out of the legislature for one day for simply not wearing a mask. And there weren't a whole bunch of people in the public at the Bank of Springfield Center here in Springfield Convention Center because they closed off the legislature to the public during the that part of the pandemic, if you recall. So interesting to see kind of a double standard here. Are you surprised by that double standard? We'll get your calls, 217-629-7970. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Bishop. Hey, I have to say I agree with, for the first time, I think, with Governor Pritzker. Because what he just said, what I just heard you play over the radio, he has just come out and said, even though we live in a constitutional republic, he said the things that are going on right now in our country are a threat to democracy. But the things that he is talking about are the things that his own party is doing. I don't get it. I mean, that's the stuff, all this.
Well, and if you could unpack that a bit, what is it that you see that Democrats are doing that are undermining our constitutional republic?
The legislation that's going into place over with these new gun laws.
Yeah.
That's part of it. But everything, I have to conform, and I have to my beliefs to go along with what they say. But they will not bend at all for anything that has gone on in this country we have lived with for the last 200 plus years. But all of a sudden everything's changing. We have to conform to what they are saying.
I appreciate the call. We'll get to another one here, 217-629-7970. Good morning.
Yeah, Greg, I don't know if you heard one of those reps that was expelled at the press conference after that. But he said that he couldn't believe that they were expelled for exercising their First Amendment rights. After all, we celebrate the 4th of July. And I thought, I can't believe you just said that. You're protesting our Second Amendment rights, that we fought a war. That's why we celebrate the 4th of July. And you're up there saying that we're taking away your rights.
And they regularly say we need common sense gun control measures. And I don't know if there is such a thing as common sense gun control measures in the face of the Second Amendment, which says the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. I appreciate the call, 217-629-7970. We'll take one more. Good morning.
Yeah. Didn't they on January 6th interrupt an official proceeding?
Right.
And
people were held accountable for that, charged with it. There could be more charges from that. Yeah.
Then these people should be in jail. Then those people that participated in this and ruined this official proceeding should be in prison, just like the other ones are, without a trial. 2 and 3 years later.
Yeah, and we've seen that a lot with the January 6th, the defendants being charged with disrupting official proceedings and so on. Should that have happened down in Tennessee with hundreds of protesters there disrupting official proceedings? Well, again, we could talk about the double standard all day. Good morning, you're on WMAY.
Yeah, I don't understand how we have a governor who has been on record through the FBI in collaborating with a supermajority in our state for the last 40 years, and that supermajority's leader is actually under indictment and being in the middle of a corruption trial, who is obviously, this is what has happened for 40 years in Illinois, and now they're saying, well, this is a bad thing. Well, it is a bad thing, but it's not a Republican thing. The governor was a part of it. He's been a part of it for 40 years. He supported it. He financially supported it. He supported it with what he said. He even said he wanted to be a part of it. He told Mike Madigan, I'd like to be a part of this. Yeah, that'd be a great idea. And now he's calling everybody else a spade.
Well, and listen, I mean, the governor's been found to be talking with former Governor Rod Blagojevich, talking about how to, arrange things so that maybe he could be appointed a certain position as somebody else is looking to get appointed to a certain position. Governor J.B. Pritzker's name's been brought up a couple of times in the Madigan case and the ComEd 4 case. I don't know if there's necessarily any wiretaps that have been released after what I've reviewed of Governor Pritzker talking to Madigan, but who knows? I mean, Madigan's trial is not till next year. We've just only heard stuff related to the ComEd 4. So, some just incredible stuff, of course, that we can talk about ad nauseum over and over and over again. But I think one thing that's clear is that there's a double standard that more and more people are becoming cognizant of, becoming more aware